What's going on, everybody? It's Peter Dewey here with FanSided. I am joined by a great guest today, Ronnie Singh, better known as Ronnie 2K, the head of lifestyle and content marketing. Ronnie, thanks for joining me, and how are you doing today?
My pleasure, always. I'm good. It's been a crazy week with these ratings things, so let's get into it.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously you guys dropped some of the top ratings for some of the best players in NBA 2K24, also some rookies. I saw you did some one-on-ones with them. Can you just talk me through a little bit of the process and kind of how you guys devise all these ratings? Because obviously it's got to be a lengthy kind of process.
Yeah, it definitely is, especially for the rookies where you don't have a lot of sample size with between summer league games and playing a different level of competition in college. But we base it on a formula. We have a great team that works on this. A lot of it starts with that. There's a lot of mini attributes, both physical and kind of mental. And it devises, it just kind of puts it in a formula and spits out a number. And I always say, like these players have a lot more control of the ratings than I do. It's just how they play is really going to benefit the rating that they have.
Definitely. So I saw we had the top 12 guys. I thought it was a pretty good standard list when I saw it. Was there anybody that jumped out to you that was in that top 12 when the ratings came out?
I don't think so. I mean, like obviously Jokic being two spots above that huge crop at 96. Obviously his game and taking it to another level and bringing home a ring speaks for itself. And so he is head and shoulders, literally 2 points above everybody else in the league. And that crop of guys is obviously, two other MVP candidates from last year with Embiid and Giannis, sorry. And then of course, Steph, KD, Luca, all of those guys are all right around there. So, and of course, King James in his 21st year. So, it's really amazing to kind of see that. And then I think the one that got a lot of conversation going was Jimmy Butler at 95. I definitely saw that on social media. Look, Jimmy, obviously, he is a one-man crew. I mean, obviously, he's got great teammates, but he really stood out in the playoffs, and that sample size of the games there really made an argument for Jimmy buckets. So really interesting to see him at 95, and that really got the community talking.
Yeah, you mentioned the community and how these ratings come out and everybody's talking, especially on social media. Does that ever factor into how some of these ratings come out? Do you guys ever take into effect some of the things the community has to say?
No, I mean, obviously we do with our entire game. We really pride ourselves on community feedback, but when it comes to the ratings, they are really sacred, and it's really about their performance on the court. And obviously, a part of that community are the NBA players themselves, and so obviously they're always petitioning for a higher rating for themselves. And there's been crazy stories over the years about that, and using social media to empower them there. But I mean, we have to be very, very strict about making it about their performance on the court. And while we obviously take a lot of community feedback throughout our game, including ratings, it doesn't really affect the rating itself. It's all about performance.
Gotcha. So with the rookies, I know you did the reveal with them. You talk about how guys on the floor, that's how they can affect their rating. They can obviously bring it up, bring it down based on their play.
Yeah.
Can you talk me through that process of revealing the ratings with the rookies and kind of getting their reactions face to face in that setting?
Yeah, it's funny. I think it's been a few years since we've had our new rating system that's historical all time. So these rookies have kind of seen other rookies from years past and what that range is usually at. So there weren't a lot of big surprises. Now, obviously, everybody wants to be a 99 and in the 90s, but I think that these guys have a sense that it's usually in the 70s and low 80s. And so I think that there's a real, I mean, all of these guys play our game and they have played it for years, so they've got a pretty good idea of where their rating's going to land. And I think that while they're excited because it is a dream come true to be in the game for the first time, I think that the rating for them matters a little bit less at the beginning, and really what they're going to do after a season of effort and see where it kind of ends up by the end of the year. So we're going to have some kind of fun programs this year about how when their rating changes, we're going to celebrate that a little bit more. So more to come there, but it's it's going to be really fun.
That's awesome. And obviously with Victor being the number one pick in the draft, a generational prospect, got kind of a generational rating at the 84 overall. What'd you think about that?
Yeah, so since the ratings changed, I mentioned we did change the system a few years ago when we had historical players come in for the first time. You know, obviously now ratings are about your all-time, like against everybody that's ever played basketball, right? And so the ratings really, so back in 2K1, Kenyon Martin was an 86. That was 22 years ago. Obviously, the formula's changed very dramatically since then. So the modern era of 2K ratings, Victor is by far the highest one. We're really making a statement about what we believe his game has already proven out to be and what it's going to be going forward. So I think the next highest rating in the modern era was a few guys at 81, John Wall, Zion Williamson, a couple others. So yeah, like obviously one of the most anticipated guys that have come along in a while, and we're going to see if that works out. But either way, a really fun player to play in 2K with his size and his athleticism. So it's gonna be really fun to watch Victor in year one.
I saw that Scoot Henderson said he thought he was going to win Rookie of the Year this year, obviously over Victor. So I was wondering your take. Who do you think between those two guys or anybody else in this rookie class, who do you think's the best guy to win Rookie of the Year?
I mean, those three top guys it's anybody's ball game. There's always a big surprise somewhere, you know, with the other guys. I love Scoot's game. I think he's really, really talented. So definitely in the running. But you know, the guy that everybody's forgetting about is last year's number one pick, right? Obviously, Chet Holmgren, and what that team, I believe, is going to be this year. Definitely sleeping on him a little bit. He had a huge summer league performance. He looks like he hasn't missed a beat, and he's grown a little bit, and like obviously learned a year of at least sitting on the sidelines and absorbing that information. So there's another guy that let's not forget in the Rookie of the Year campaign. It's going to be really fun. All these young guys, really good, fresh breath of fresh air for, you know, the guys coming in, both in the NBA and in 2K24.
Yeah, you mentioned Chet and the Thunder. Obviously, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander made a huge jump last year, not only in his rating, just his overall game in general, kind of put the Thunder into that playoff conversation. Is there any player you think this year, almost in like a most improved kind of aspect, you think is going to really bounce their 2K rating up this season?
I was going to say Chet. I really think I think he's a 78, and I don't see why he can't get into the upper 80s. Trying to think of anyone else that's like low 80s that could make the jump to close to 90. I called the Shea thing actually last year. I did a bunch of interviews where I said he was going to be the most improved guy. I'm trying to think who's going to make that leap. I think it's Chet. I really do. I'm not sure if there's anybody else. Paolo is obviously another one, but that might be a little more obvious the way that he played. So one of those two guys, I think, will take the big leap this year.
Nice. I got, if you're down for it, NBA predictions for this upcoming season. I know we got a while till the regular season starts, but obviously value your opinion. Want to kind of see where you see the league going entering this year. So first, I got to ask: finals matchup, finals winner, and why?
Finals matchup, finals winner. I think it will be the Suns versus the Celtics, and I think that the Suns win the championship. I know that's like, I mean, it's not a wild call because obviously they have that amazing four, and then they also brought some reinforcements, and maybe it'll take a second to gel, but I think it does gel. I think last year was a humbling experience, getting, you know, eliminated early. So I do think that they take just a massive leap, and it just kind of comes together.
I like that. The addition of Bradley Beal definitely makes them a very, very interesting team to watch this year with all the great scores they have.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to sleep on the Nuggets. I don't think that was a mirage, but I just think that Phoenix has a little bit more talent, you know, and they also have some chips that they could move around at the trade deadline if they have to too. So yeah, I think it's Phoenix.
Yeah. And then last question I just have for you, if we could do MVP pick, and then what fans should be in the community should be excited for in NBA 2K24.
I mean, I think the three guys that were the finalists for the MVP, along with Kevin Durant, along with probably Jason Tatum, it's one of those five guys. I know I'm not answering it fully, so but if I had to bet on it, I would say Giannis will win the MVP. But it would, I mean, it's any of those guys' game. I really do think that. So it's gonna be a fascinating season. I think that actually the rating system telling that story of so many 90s, like mid 90s, right? Like I don't think we've had that many mid 90s in years. It's not because the formula's changed. I just think that the upper echelon is just so much better than it has been in years. And like the guys that are getting a little bit older, like Steph and LeBron, are still at a high level. And then all of a sudden there's all these guys that are in there coming into their prime that are also really, really good. And so I just think that it's going to take a transcendent season to win MVP this year because there's just so many good guys that are going to put up numbers. So really going to be fascinating to watch.
Definitely. And then just last one, this season, NBA 2K24, what should fans be most excited for, you think?
I mean, there's a lot. Obviously, Kobe on the cover and what that means to the game of basketball and how we're going to celebrate that. It's going to be exciting. Crossplay is going to be so cool, especially when it comes to like the competitive landscape. We waited to do it right and bring it to all of our modes. So like Pro-Am crossplay and the city and like all of that stuff, being able to, it doesn't matter what console you are on, is really exciting. So I think it leads with those things, but we got some stuff coming with gameplay that people are going to be really, really excited about as well in the next week, as we announced on our Twitter channel a couple weeks ago. So yeah, a lot to look forward to. We brought it big to honor Kobe and give our players the most exciting 2K today.
Awesome. Ronnie, thank you for your time, man. I really appreciate it. This was great.
Yeah, anytime.
Thank you.